This episode is sponsored by Netflix. For free 30-day trial, head on over to netflix.com/GameBreakerTV.
GameBreaker TV.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to This Week in MMO, episode 161. Is it one? Yes, it's one. 161 for September 13th, 2013. You're watching Game Breaker. I'm Gary Gannon. Coming up on today's show, Zenimax reveal all of their latest Q&A. We're going to buy Project Copernicus and say goodbye to PvP and Firefall. All that and more. But first, Mr. Jason Winter, how are you, sir?
I am doing as well as can be expected.
Excellent.
Solidly above average.
That's like a solid 2 out of 10.
It's like at least a 5.5.
5.5. That's good for a Friday. It's Friday. Mr. Byrne joining us as well, of course. You had a solid 5.5 or above on this Friday.
Yeah, I'm about an 8 right now. In about an hour and a half, 2 hours, when I am totally shutting down and just Final Fantasying it up for the weekend, I'll be a 10 out of 10. And that was not fair of you to use the voice during the Netflix commercial when I had to be quiet, because I wanted to yell back.
It's like a natural reaction. Yeah,
it is. Meow, meow. You just want to start yelling.
Wow, rating Final Fantasy XIV above This Week in MMO. I don't know how I feel about that, Mr. Byrne. I don't know.
I don't think it's above This Week in MMO. I think it's just above working in general.
Just above life. Just above
Yes.
life. Yeah. All right.
Today is the wife's birthday.
I know.
So I might have to.
Oh, happy birthday
like,
to the missus.
Yeah, I might have to do a whole dinner and shit like that after the show first.
Happy birthday, Mrs. Magic Man.
Happy
Woman.
birthday. She's
Magic
awesome.
Woman.
Magic Woman.
Does she have
Whoa,
does she have the Twitter account Magic Woman? One?
No, she. I
You
forget
should.
what hers is. I don't even.
You should
know.
do that. That'd be fun. All right.
We get married in RPGs. I mean, we don't need the Twitter, the matching Twitter accounts too.
Wasn't that on the registry? Matching Twitter accounts?
Right. We went around and scanned things and scanned the Twitters.
There you go. You can get
All
those
right, so
Target out here.
this week another mind-blowing Q&A from Zenimax on the Elder Scrolls Online. So the first answer explained, get this, how 3-faction player versus player works. Shockingly, all 3 factions can fight each other. Thank the Lord.
Wow. And you know what? They don't just have to fight at keeps. They answered
No.
that too.
Yes. How does that all work? How does it work? A lot of companies are afraid to do the 3-faction PvP. We haven't seen it done right in a really damn long time. And it's by us old school MMO players. It's the best PvP ever. It really is. It was, it's Dark Age. Hopefully, Dark Age style. 3 factions. Everybody can fight everybody. So my faction.
What made Dark Age so special compared to the other 3-faction PvPs we've had?
Because you've always got, a behemoth, and then you've got 2 other groups of players who can then align themselves with each other, make side deals, and then go in and try and take over, fortresses and keeps. But then one of them are going to take that one over, and now you've got like the other 2 now fighting for it. So it's like, if my faction controls a keep, both of your factions could fight and attack it. And I guess you could do it separately, or you guys could form an alliance or whatever. But then afterwards, you guys can fight each other. It just
What
makes
prevents modern games from doing that?
because they're afraid.
No, they're not. That can totally happen. Well, the gamers maybe are, but the
They're
games
not.
themselves.
They're not afraid. I can tell you a company that is flat out afraid to do it, and that would be your boys over at Star Trek Online.
They have PvP.
Well, yeah. First off, and even the little PvP that they do have, which is admittedly not the best. Look, I'm just gesticulating everywhere. I'll put my hands down here. When the Romulan patch came out, that was a big thing. People were, guessing, oh, can we get 3-faction PvP? Finally, they came out and they were just like, no. We are not ready to balance for 3. We were having a hard time balancing for 2. You Romulans are going to go ahead and have to pick the Federation or the Klingon to ally with, and then we'll queue you for PvP that way. There's a legitimate. I wouldn't say it's fear, obviously, but there's a legitimate concern with doing it with companies nowadays, as far as how much time and cost that's going to actually take to keep balanced for the long term. Admittedly, Dark Age of Camelot was, I don't want to say it was simplistic, but ability set, it was more simplistic than some modern games now. So it was a little easier to balance then, too.
Right, my point was more, what is it that the current games like, say, PlanetSide or Guild Wars 2, what did they do in their 3-faction PvP that Dark Age did so much better?
Well, for one, I would say that, we're in PlanetSide, you've got these feedback loops where people just keep going from base to base to base, but there's not a huge amount of reason to do this type of thing.
Sure.
Dark Age, there was a very big reason, resources, holding keeps, there was motivation to actually do and then stay and hold and actually control points. Whereas in most of the other games, I don't know if
there's a lot of defense reason for defense. I'll agree with
No, you don't stay there. You just go to the next base and get some certs, and then boom, I'm done. Getting your certs, and it's too much of a here's a big bit of a credit, and then we're done. What else, Bern? What else with the big?
And it was fun.
It was fun. It was fun.
Oh God.
Hey, come on. You can't say that there's not a handful of games out, probably more than a handful, where even 2-faction PvP just flat out isn't fun right now.
Oh, yeah, I'll agree. Yeah.
Forget all the side perks.
I mean, have we seen 3-faction PvP done right since Dark Age?
If you talk about done right as being a reason to stick around and defend places as opposed to just move on to the next place, then probably not.
No.
Probably not. I can't name a game that we've seen. And it kind of blows me away, because for people who have played MMOs since they started, don't most PvP fans sort of unanimously agree that it was a great time? They did it. Why someone hasn't just copied it is beyond me. I don't understand why they just didn't look at it and just literally copy it in today's, with today's technology, but set up the same system.
I would guess that some of it is the notion of having to always be doing something. You get the daily quest, you get a mob every 50 feet to fight, you get a battle every 10 seconds or whatever. Sitting in a keep and waiting for someone to attack you is kind of boring from a certain standpoint. So they probably program it to be more of that regular rush of the attack and whatever and so on, as opposed to playing any kind of defensive game.
Well, you could have that, right? I mean, you could still have the questing experience of always having stuff to do and kind of, giving people a lot of options. But why not for open world PvP have this, the closest thing I think we've seen to try and do it was WDubs in Guild Wars 2. They tried to take it to a level of servers versus servers, but 3 servers kind of coming, fighting for the center. It just doesn't seem like the same thing, though. And I don't know why this is. I don't know why nobody's copied it.
Wasn't Mark Jacobs trying to copy it, basically? For Camelot Unchained?
He came up with it. I wouldn't call it copying. He's the guy who came up with it. He can't really.
Sure.
I don't know.
Here's something else to keep in mind, though, Gary, on the whole 3-faction thing, because you're dead right. I mean, even people that didn't play Dark Age of Camelot are like, yeah, the 3-faction PvP was the best. I mean, even I know that, and I never played the damn thing. But Final Fantasy is going to have 3 factions. I mean, at least that's the way we believe things are going to shake down. Now, we don't even know what PvP is going to look like. Besides, we know there's 2 types of modes, but there's 3 factions there. I'm going there.
You're going there. You're going there.
There are 3 grand companies, and we believe that's how they're going to segregate everybody for PvP.
You're going there. The game that doesn't launch with PvP. You're holding out. You think it's gonna?
Was it?
You think
was
it's gonna rival?
Yoshi P that said esports? I don't remember who it was.
You think it's?
is that you or I think that was Yoshi
You
P.
think I'm loving Final Fantasy XIV. Don't get me wrong. I'm absolutely loving it. But there's no way I'm defending PvP that does not exist in the game.
Oh,
and
no.
even
going
remotely
even
say that this might rival Dark Age of Camelot PvP.
Now that is not what I said, Gannon.
I heard you say it.
Cure cancer. And
no, that is not what I said. I put it out there as a game that is potentially going to try 3-faction PvP. Not something to rival DAOC. Don't put words in my mouth.
Yeah,
see?
No, Are you really holding out though to think that the PvP is like? All right, like I said,
No,
I'm loving it.
I
Don't get
said
me wrong.
on XIV
Do you really think it's
Reborn
going to be
on,
good?
Like episode 2, I thought the PvP.
I guess
was
it could
gonna
be.
suck ass.
I don't know. I don't understand how. I don't know. I've never seen a game launch without something like this, and then add it later, and then it be amazing.
But we'll talk
I
about it
don't,
later
I
in
don't
the show.
expect much of anything, and I've been very.
I always
forthright.
thought of it. It's like a sculpture, and it's like, you know, you crafted this like beautiful like, you know, statue, and then like a year down the road, you just took a big handful of clay, you just stuck it on the side of like a cancer tumor, and you were just like, here's PvP. And you're like, that doesn't feel right. I think I should go to the doctor and get this checked out.
I'm a tumor. 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 Little Family Guy for you.
Yeah, I can't believe you're holding out for Final Fantasy PvP. He's just
What
drunk.
The? No, see, now
He's
look
just
at this.
drunk.
Now-
He's
no!
drunk with Square Enix love.
This is ridiculous. I get words
Yoshi
put in
P's
my
just like
mouth. Yeah.
Yoshi P's just like spraying champagne on Burr. He's like,
You sure that's champagne?
maybe, I don't know.
Wow.
I had to say something. I mean, you guys are just going to go off for like 20 minutes about 14. So
Holy
I had
hell!
to
It's
pick my
getting,
spots where
it's
I
getting
could.
ridiculous in here on a Friday.
I'm really excited though to know that they're gonna have 3-faction PvP, and I'm hoping that they really set it up like that. You know, like again, 2-faction PvP just doesn't really do it for me. It's like it becomes stale, it becomes stagnant. You need that third faction to kind of like, you know, sway the balances. Like I said, I don't know why nobody's done it. So looks like Elder Scrolls Online are going to be doing it. So I'm excited for that. Achievements are confirmed in Elder Scrolls Online. Mind blown. They have achievements in 2013. No, but great. Good. Love achievements. Are you guys achievement whores? I don't really care. I honestly don't.
It depends on what it is. I'm
Are you like
not
completionist achievements? Like you're just like, I
no,
gotta get them all.
I'm not a completionist, but I'll target certain achievements, whether they have an award or not, that I just really, really want, and I'll beat my head against the wall to get them, but I don't have to have every single achievement. Yeah.
I'm an achievement whore if it's easy. Or somewhat. I'm an easy whore, yeah.
Jason, I'm cheap and easy.
Basically, yeah. It's not. I don't go for the type of stuff where it's like, you know, do this thing for 30 hours to get the little title or achievement or whatever. But if it's like, if I have like 15 of 20 of something, I'll finish out those last 5 or whatever. But I'm not.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way.
Target them.
I'm kind of the same way there with you.
I'm all for achievements as long as they're easy.
As long as they're easy. I don't want a hard
As long as
achievement.
they're not ridiculous.
Bing, you
They're not
logged in. Congratulations, you remembered your freaking password.
Well,
Yeah,
isn't it,
exactly. I love those.
who is
Those
it
are the
that
best
really
ones.
started doing that? It's like Call of Duty and stuff really started to ramp that up. Like they started just giving you achievements for anything. Literally, it was like log in, boom, achievement, ding, 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 you cured cancer.
Found the power button. 5 points.
They really are like that. It's amazing how they've gotten. It's gotten
yeah.
ridiculous. Zenimax is still considering titles. They haven't really decided on that yet. So they wanted to remain immersive and consistent with the style of the game, which I guess presumably doesn't mean a title floating above your head.
Yeah.
I don't think there weren't even names over your head.
Yeah,
I recall. So,
I think they're trying to keep it real clean.
Real
at
clean.
most, when you target someone and you have their reticle on, you'll see, you know, their name and their life bar and their level. So maybe that's where you put it. You just stick it under that up at the top of your screen.
You think it's gonna work in an MMO? We're so used to it. Do either of you guys ever take off all the titles and tags and everything and just try and play like that?
Not all of them. I've come close. I'll keep mob tags on and NPC tags on, but I'll shut player tags off. I've done that before, which
Yeah.
is kind of exactly what they're talking about here.
I actually do like to shut player tags off as well. It just kind of gets annoying.
Well, and then you're like all first person, and you want to pretend like you're having conversations with them because you're like Gary Gannon, King RP.
RPer. I am. I play in first person mode. I'm an RPer apparently.
Hey, it wasn't just
Have you
first
tried
person
it?
mode.
Have you tried it yet?
No.
Have you tried it yet?
No,
Have you
I
tried
haven't
it?
tried it yet. No.
Why?
And
You
it
gotta
wasn't just
try
first
it.
person mode. It was
What?
because you were talking about talking
The
to the
weather?
NPCs, like talking back to the NPCs. You were like,
What do
I
you
like being
mean?
in first person mode. That's why you're an RPer. It
Oh
wasn't
no! I'm
just
saying
for
when
first person.
you're in first person mode and then you click on an NPC to talk to them, it's like they're right there. You know, you got like good framing of them. You can see their face. They turn and look at you, and you got the text. It feels nice.
Okay.
I feel like that's the way it's supposed to be played. think then you called me an RPer because I wanted the weather to affect the game.
No, that was cool. I agree with you there.
Mr. Happy wasn't feeling it though. I said weather should affect the game to the point that like the storm rolls in and it's so freaking bad that we got to get indoors and people can't even go outside and play for a while. I think it'd be great.
Sidebar, Dragon Age Inquisition is going to feature weather that can actually damage the character or block you from progressing at certain times. Sidebar.
That's what I mean. Like, imagine if it actually had damage. Like, it's just so bad. You're like, but if there was content indoors that you could then go do, like, and maybe it only happens.
You can't just sit around inside for 3 hours.
No. They got to give you stuff to do, but maybe that stuff only actually pops and is available like when these storms are going. So then, like these social activities, maybe there's like a ball. You know, we can RP it up and, you know.
There's a ball. We could go and kill dragons, but there's a ball inside.
He's not an RP. Oh, I'm an RPer because I put it in first person and I chat to the NPCs. And I'd really like to have a dance when it's bad weather outside.
Come on, Byrne.
Bring
get
social.
together and have some punch.
I want to dance with Michael Byrne, Magic Man. Come on. It'd be fun. You know, you're in a little shit town and maybe you just like, you know, grab a drink, sit down in a chair. Yeah, grab an inn.
Yeah.
Read a book.
Jason, hi, I'm easy.
I'm an easy whore.
I don't know. I'm all for that. I really am. I think weather is such a. Scott Hawks and I have talked about this for like hours on like Vent, and it's like I think weather is such an underutilized mechanic in games. Like it's like it's just flavor, and I really I think this Dragon Age 2 idea would be great. I think it'd be awesome if you took damage. Like it's snowing. All of a sudden, if you don't have the right gear on, you're kind of like, you know, you got to go in and cuddle up by the fire, you know?
That's what they're planning. Get damaged, and it could actually block you from going and doing things.
Then I need the spooning emote so I could spoon you, Byrne. We could cuddle up by the fire.
If we buy Copernicus, I don't want to play with you.
All right. So, like I said, titles and all that good stuff. We have no idea what's going on with the titles. They look like they want to keep the game really clean and immersive, so we'll see. I think a lot of people do like titles, they usually tie in kind of well with achievements. It's kind of funny that we're talking about like they are having achievements, but they're not sure about titles. Usually they somewhat go hand in hand. This one really took me by surprise, though. The open world PvP zone will provide plenty of opportunities for open world PvP. Holy shit! Wow! Amazing. The open world PvP zone will provide plenty of opportunities for open world PvP. Who would have thought?
This is why I don't even read their Q&As usually.
Maybe I should write an MMO. Maybe I should write the MMORPGs for Dummies book. Maybe I should do that.
There you go. To be fair, though, I didn't think this Q&A was all that bad. I mean, we kind of really tore apart the last one, right? Because it was just bare bones, basic stuff, assuming that the audience had not played an MMO at all. I actually thought this one, although it wasn't as detailed as I would have liked, but they've got plenty of time for that, I do think this was catered more specifically towards the MMO crowd than the Skyrim crowd, and I like seeing that, even though we still got some time to go. More details, great, but I was okay with this Q&A.
What did you pull out of this that you really took away? What was your big takeaway?
No, it didn't give, like I said, it didn't give me any big details, but they've got plenty of time to do that. It was just nice to see every Q&A so far has really been catered towards more of a console player or a Skyrim player, not an MMO player. And it just seemed to me like they were ignoring a big portion of the audience they were planning to try and target. This one, when you start talking about titles, achievements, factions, PvP, open world PvP, I mean, those are target terms directly at MMO players, which was just nice to see them engage in for once.
Yeah,
so the game's going to have the game is going to have
Q&A, but it's better than the most recent ones in my book.
The game is going to have swords.
No, so it seemed more console and non-MMO targeted to me, I guess.
There will be swords.
Yes, there will be swords and wenches.
And armor. There will be armor.
Yes.
I think there'll be dungeons, probably. And there might be monsters.
And
probably towns. There's definitely plenty of opportunity for open world PvP, Jason. Just want to let you know.
In the open world.
Plenty of opportunities for open world PvP. Sure. I can't wait to get my hands on it. I want to play it. I'm a huge Skyrim fan, and I'm a huge RPG fan. So I don't know. I want to see more. Like some of the information that's been coming out lately, we've been a little harsh on and stuff like that. I think it's because we're like the super hardcore MMO crowd, and like I said, they're trying to like talk to a different crowd right now, and we're kind of picking it apart. But I think it's still really going to be interesting where they go with this. So it's definitely going to be one of the biggest releases of the year, and I can't wait to get my 3-faction PvP on. Even if they just get that right, I'm in. If they just get that alone right, I'm totally in. I'm all in. If it's like Dark Age fun, I'm in.
I'm looking forward to it.
All right, next up, Project Copernicus. Remember that game? 38 Studios, the unfinished game. Well, the IP itself has finally gone up for sale. You guys remember Jason covered this a ton back in the day on GameBreaker.tv. State of Rhode Island funded it. Company got into a lot of trouble, kind of went under. A lot of people got laid off. They want to sue them, all this good stuff. So now 38 Studios, the IP for Project Copernicus, is up for sale. It's happening soon. We don't know when, but that's pretty much all the details we've got right now. So what do you think? Shall we pool our money together and maybe do a Kickstarter, try and get a couple bucks up together and try and buy this bad boy and put it out?
Wow, would that be a news story? Game TV media company launches Kickstarter
to buy Project Copernicus
MMO from defunct company in online auction.
Maybe we should do it. I wonder what they're going to sell it for. It's hard to.
I remember the couch cushions they found like 50 cents. So I mean that
I remember back. Do you remember what the number was back in the day? Back in the day, they said the IP alone was 20 million. The IP was worth about 20 million. Yeah. Do you think it's still worth that at this point? I guess I don't know.
No, sadly, I don't. I don't know.
Somebody will pick this up.
Somebody's going to pick it up, but I don't think
it's
worth
Game
20 million. It's going to be us. Then we're going to have to figure out, does anybody know how to do some game design?
Hey, what do we do with this?
Done. It's
practically finished.
Yeah.
So. I mean, I've talked to some of the developers that worked on it, and they actually did say, like, surprisingly, a lot was done. Like, it wasn't just like those simple fly-through videos. They were like, they were pretty far along. There was a lot going on in the game already. Like, it was playable. So I think it wasn't, just some pretty pictures at that point. They just weren't releasing a ton of it. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how much this sells for, though. I'm sure Rhode Island are hoping that this, kind of sells for a ton of money so they can wipe away all their debt. I don't know. $100 million. I doubt that's happening.
No.
Is that what they're in for?
No
100 million?
Yeah.
Was that
112
they're on the taxpayers themselves are on the hook for 90 million.
90? Yeah, I don't know. I don't think anybody's going to pay 90 million for that. I don't know. What's our over under here? If you had to guess, how much do you think somebody?
That's Mr. Winter. That's your show.
How much do you think? I'm going to throw a dart. I don't even know. I'm going to say.
I'd say single-digit millions.
I was going to say 4 million.
I was thinking 5, but I want to be hedged in case it actually goes for like 10 or something. So.
I don't know. I mean, it's got a lot. It's got all the R.A. Salvatore stuff. It's got all the Todd McFarlane artwork. Like, that stuff does have some value there. You've got all this stuff that's lore written. You've got a game engine. You've got a lot of there's a lot of stuff there.
The more interesting question might be, who's the buyer?
GameBreaker.
Well, you cut the check for $5 million to them. You send the check over here
Come on,
for
Twitch, we can do it.
GB East. We're fine. But seriously, who's the buyer? Like, if you had to guess right now, is it going to be a company we know? Is it going to be some independent indie developers that are going to try and catch something, catch lightning in a bottle here? What do you think?
Yeah, I don't see it. I don't see one of the big like AAA companies scooping this up personally. That'd be my guess. I don't see like EA coming in and buying this. I don't see NCSoft. I don't see one of the.
You don't see NCSoft? I could see them interested in this. I
guess it all depends on price.
I don't see them as the final buyer, but I could see them interested in this. I'm thinking more along the lines of maybe a Perfect World, or maybe even a Nexon. 10 Cent has got more money than they know what to do with. I could see them maybe being interested in it to toss to one of the 70 bajillion companies they own.
I don't know. I don't know. It's gonna be interesting. I don't know. It's got so much bad.
The only big company that would maybe take a shot at is SOE because they were always buddy with Kurt Schilling. So that could be kind of an interesting way to go.
I don't even want to go down that road.
I would be really surprised.
I
if
would be
Sony
just in
took
terms
it.
of like what everything else they have going on. But
Especially with their focus right now on EQ Next,
Yeah.
I don't see like, yeah, let's just try and get into this whole nother MMO thing that's like half done and has terrible press. I
unless they
don't know.
do farm it out to another studio, yeah, same sort of thing.
We'll see.
I'd
I don't
love
know.
to
I mean,
see the light of day, though. I really would. And
I would as well. I mean, the people
it's
behind the game
unfortunate
always
the
said there was.
company, but I want to see what those developers did and get some
The
recognition
problem is
for,
we did
for
kind
that.
of see what they did, and it was kind of mediocre. We talked about Reckoning, and it's like,
Yeah.
do you really want to pay $5 or $10 million or whatever for some artwork and a fantasy world? I mean, can you not?
I don't
come up
know.
with
I mean,
that some
they
other way?
but they apparently had a lot more going to it now. Like I said, I've heard firsthand from people who
Sure.
are entrenched in it saying that the game actually had something really special going on, and they were actually trying to do like some new sort of mechanic things and some new philosophies behind the game that we hadn't really seen before. And I don't know, assuming that isn't total BS. I don't know.
We've seen a lot of companies scooping up half-finished games from THQ and other companies that are paying off big time this year. Why not?
I mean, I guess the other way to look at this, how many times have we ever seen an MMO company kind of like, get picked up by another MMO company and actually turn out really well? I don't know. Nothing comes to mind, that's for sure. We shall
I'm
see.
thinking of Gods and Heroes. That's
Oh, yeah. Remember that
Yeah.
one? That was all.
that bounced around. to a
Whatever
few different
happened to
places.
that? Wow. What
His
happened
mouth,
to that?
His mouth almost said Gods and Heroes, and his brain was like, "That sucked!
No.
Get it back here!"
Is that game still around?
Is it still
Wow,
running?
I don't know.
It
I'm
might
looking it up. It might be. Hair fashion photography. That's not the right site. Nope.
Godsandheroes.com. That doesn't. Someone-
That was an incorrect click.
Gods and Heroes MMORPG. Let's see if that can pull it up. I had no idea if this is even still running. Now you've got me. Nothing's coming up. Rome Rising. Well, they don't.
It's got a Wikipedia
Godsandheroes.com.
page and a Facebook page.
No, it's still got a. Oh, yeah. It looks like it went free to play. Still has a website.
Wow.
It's not really loading.
The last post on their free Facebook page was September of last year.
Oh,
Somehow
so it's
I got-
relatively
somehow
up to
I-
date.
Yeah, last post on their website, February 13th, 2012. Gods and Heroes subscription fees eliminated, and no one ever read that. And then from here, if I click this, I just get that. That's what I get on the webpage. So I guess that one's gone. Another one bites the dust. All right, I want to talk about some Firefall, but first I want to tell you guys about Audible. I want to hook you guys up with a free 30-day trial and get a free audio book. If you guys have not signed up for Audible, now's the time to do it. All you got to do is go to audible.com/gamebreaker and download the app and get yourself a free audio book you'll be listening to tonight. I actually pulled these up, looking for something new. Check these out. I didn't even know these were up here. Elder Scrolls series. Anybody check these out? I'm really intrigued.
I keep meaning to pick those up.
Yeah, there's two of them on here. The Infernal City, Elder Scrolls series number 1, and Lord of Souls, the Elder Scrolls novel book 2. Let me see if can I play a sample here? Let me see. Ooh.
Yes. I saw an Oblivion gate open once, she said. When my father worked in Leaween, I saw things. It feels a little like that. But Martin's sacrifice, they say it can't happen again.
Yeah,
and it
see?
doesn't look like a gate. It wasn't shaped like a thunderhead, if I
Oblivion gate's
realized.
open, yeah.
More like a fat cone, point
Yeah,
down.
see?
Another wind was starting
Nah,
up,
he said he
and
was a
on it
Daedra
something
prince. You see? Nah.
unbelievably foul. It doesn't matter what it is, he
Yeah,
said.
see?
Not to us. And a few instants later, it didn't.
Check it out, though. I'm going to pick these up. It's probably really good. I've checked these out. It's got really good 3.9 stars out of 5. It's pretty good. Almost 4. Both of these are available on Audible, and you could be listening to one of these tonight as your free audiobooks. You download the app, you put it on your iPhone, your Android, whatever you got, your iPad, and download one free audiobook. And I've been a longtime subscriber, and I love having these guys on as sponsors, helping make everything here at Gamebreaker possible. So support the Gamebreaker by supporting our sponsors, and go over to audible.com and sign up today for a free 30-day trial and a free audiobook. All you got to do, got to make sure you use the URL audible.com/gamebreaker. All right. This is sad news this week for me because I don't know where this came from, and I was completely I almost fell out of my chair when I saw this. PvP fans in Firefall. Apparently all 3% of you. Red 5. That's not even a joke. It is apparently a real statistic. Red 5 are actually shutting down the PvP side of the game in the near future. We don't know when. And rebooting the system eventually. So they're taking all the PvP out. All of it. They just recently tested some open world PvP area, and that's going to go away. The closed, battleground-esque maps going away. CEO Mark Kern stated that less than 3% of the player base actually participated in the PvP and esports side of things, and just wasn't working.
Now, I wasn't quite sure reading that. Was it 3% play PvP or 3% were doing the esport jetball thing?
I think that's all included. Like jetball is just a map, PvP? So that's just PvP. Yeah, like I think only 3% of their player base were actually engaging in any PvP. What's really fun is I didn't play. I was playing a bunch of Firefall. I actually really like Firefall and I have a lot of fun in it. But I wasn't doing much of the jetball or battleground-esque stuff either. I was holding out for the open world PvP. When I did Firefall Fest with those guys, it sounded to me as if open world PvP was a direction they really wanted to go in. And that was, and then we got that survey after that talked about like bases and being able to take them over. And, it sounded like that was a really solid direction. I don't know what's going on right now, but it kind of is hard it is kind of hard to argue the fact though, if literally 3% of the player base are only doing PvP, something's majorly wrong with the PvP.
Or the PvE is that good. That's at least something.
It's not. That's the problem on my side. The PvE was. I sounded really whiny there.
It's not.
That's the problem on my side. I don't like this game. But that is a problem. The PvE isn't really fully implemented yet. It's coming in very small stages. Yes, you can go around and do the thumping and all that stuff, but the story, that type of PvE gameplay that people have been waiting for, that I have been waiting for years now, since I first touched the game, it's still not there. So it's not like, well, 3% of our PvP, our base is PvPing because the PvE is just so freaking fantastic. That's a really terrifying number to me, because the PvE is thumping right now. That's it.
I mean, it's a little bit more than that. Let's give it.
What more is it? I'm serious. What more is it besides thumping and doing maybe some exploration with your friends?
There's the dynamic events in the game that just pop up. There's tornadoes. There's all the different instances that you go into that you got to what are they called? I can't remember what they're called, but those areas that pop up and you got to go take care of stuff and go into sort of dungeon-esque kind of stuff. There's a little more than thumping. Now it's about pushing back the melding as well. So they're starting to do things like you have to there's a little bit more than just thumping. There definitely is. There's about 4 or 5 mechanics I feel like going on that you're constantly
right, but they're all just different mechanics that are repeated over and over in different locations. There's no real story. There's no real anything like that going on yet, which is what Firefall fans are waiting for.
Dude, it's just in beta. It doesn't need the story yet. It's in beta.
Yeah, the thing that's scary about this is they've gone back and sort of the game's been in beta for so long now, and they're really trying to figure out what the audience wants in this game, and they're willing to just pull out PvP from the game until they can fix it. They're willing to do some bold moves, but God, is it feeling more and more like maybe they don't have a really clear direction, and I don't know, they could just be spinning their wheels forever. At some point, I think you gotta go forward and have a vision and really go with it. I don't know.
Yeah.
And what's funny is when Firefall first launched and came was in beta and stuff, the perception from most of the population or gamers, especially watching this show, and myself including, was, oh, that's that PvP game. That's oh, it's gonna be the new global agenda or something. Not really, paying too much attention when you got into it. And then it was oh, it's got PvE as well. They've had this identity crisis for quite a while of people trying to understand what is this game? Is it is it PvE? Is it PvP? And I think most people thought it was PvP and thought they were gonna go the esports route, and they put on all the Twitch stuff and the crazy awesome spectator mode that they built, which was amazing. And now all of a sudden all that stuff's gone. I mean, it's gone we don't know how long. they feel like there's a problem, so they're pulling it out. I don't know if that means that they're going to pull it out to actively rework it and actually be working on it, or if they're going to shelve it for a while and then just work on the PvE side of things because that's what players want. I don't know. I think this game has a lot going for it, to be honest. I think there's huge potential for the game. But
I'm pretty confident in the PvE side, by the way. I don't want to be misunderstood there. I know that's coming. I know the different writers that they've brought on, some very big name writers to do some of the exciting stuff that they're going to, and I'm willing to wait for it. I'm not trashing that side of the game. I'm just saying that the enhanced PvE is not in the game yet. And that's what makes the PvP numbers scary to me. I don't mean to be coming down on the PvE side because it's just not there yet, but it looks like they have a vision. The PvP side now terrifies me because I don't know if they have any vision for this.
The thing that scares me is how long will gamers like give it a shot in beta where it just keeps changing? Like what's the average number of times you sort of maybe hear about it, they've done something new, you're going to jump in and experience it. Then there's going to be a point at some point where you're just like, I gave that game a try. Which is unfortunate because they might really catch fire eventually, right? I don't know. Maybe it'll totally work, and they're just going to keep waiting and catch fire with something, and let the numbers sort of show like, hey, we finally got it, and until we get it, we're just going to keep trying to get it, go after it. I don't know. Maybe it's a good strategy.
That's tough to do though, because if you're just relying on it, if you just keep trying things, keep throwing stuff up against the dartboard and hope that one of them sticks,
it's got to be expensive too.
And whatever change you make, the people who liked it are going to be ticked off about it, even if the new people like it more. And you just keep going through that and cycling through people over and over. What are they? Haven't they like twice totally revamped the skill system progression?
Yeah, the battle frame system has been revamped multiple times.
So they've done that twice. Now they're going to redo PvP.
But I gotta say, I don't know if anybody, I'm sure somebody who disagrees with me, but I think they did a really good job every time they revamped it. Like it got better and better every time they revamped it. Isn't that what we want from a game design? Like we wanted to get better. I don't think anybody thought it got worse.
On the one hand, yes, but on the other hand, people hate change. So.
Oh, I can't agree with you, Gary.
You don't think it got better?
No. I don't think it got worse. I mean,
you don't think that the battle frame, like the way it's laid out in the menu system and how to understand what's going on, got better? I mean,
no.
Did you play the first version when like you had no idea what was happening? Then they went to the crazy tech tree thing that was like a spreadsheet that nobody could understand. Now it's pretty understandable. Like I don't know. I feel like they did a better. I think it's much better shape than it ever was.
If you're talking strictly UI, okay, I can go with you there. I'm talking about the actual battle mechs themselves. I think the balancing and the abilities. To me, there's not a huge difference between all the different battle mechs. Yeah, they have a core basic difference, but there's more work that needs to be done on those battle frames. If you're just speaking from like a UI perspective, how to find your upgrades and what you should build and things like that, okay, then yes, I apologize, we're on the same page there. But as far as the battle mechs themselves being improvements, I don't see that. I see them staying fairly steady with the build I played a year and a half, almost 2 years ago when I did a first look way back when. And Jason's absolutely right. It's hard enough to do this type of change immediately or once. They've already done it a handful of times. And this is reaching, I don't know their budget, but talk to 38 Studios about changing things over and over again.
I mean, that is the scariest thing in this whole thing. Like, we don't know the numbers. We don't know the financial situation they're in. They could be fine. They could be sitting on mountains of cash. And maybe they have the leeway to kind of do this and revamp and just keep working on it. Maybe they do. Maybe they just have like an investor with an unlimited pocketbook. But it sounds scary from the outside.
Well, I was going to say, the comparison to 38 Studios is interesting because that seemed like a company that just kept trying to add this and that and have everything possible in their first game, and they just collapsed underneath it. So maybe it's a good thing that they're going to pull something out of Firefall and really narrow their focus a bit instead of trying to do the PvE and the PvP and the esports and the this and the that.
Well, that's even something that they did back in the day, because I think they did at one point. They pulled a lot of stuff back, and including the open world. They talked when I asked them about the open world PvP stuff. They actually told me like it's kind of they already have all the code. They've built a lot of that stuff out, but they decided not to really have it all to the players yet, just because, you know, they kind of wanted to focus on and get the fun factor down of just like, that's why also I think you're living in kind of a small area right now. I don't know. Anyway, we can go on and on. It's kind of crazy news.
Face Crit in chat says I was thinking, well, it says Final Fantasy XIV revamp seems to have been positive. Why can't this?
It totally possibly can. So
I am totally done, and I give up my argument.
Hey,
Firefall will be the best game ever.
Definitely interesting stuff, though. Definitely going to keep an eye on it, especially coming after the heels of that open world PvP stuff that they just launched like just weeks ago, and now they're all of a sudden closing it. So next up, Vin Diesel announces the new Chronicles of Riddick game. Why are we talking about this? Well, because basically Vin Diesel told IGN that the concept is more of a MMO game. I don't know what that means, but he said it, and we know he's a huge MMO player. Huge. Did I ever tell you the story? I think this is a funny story. I'm pretty sure Vin Diesel was in our Warhammer guild.
How are you pretty sure?
Well, first of all, he's a huge MMO player.
Right.
Like there was a point even at, I forget what movie he was doing, but he was working on a movie, and part of his contract was that he had to have a van with satellite internet, a desk, and World of Warcraft on a computer. So like when in between like takes and stuff, I'm not making this up, he could go into his trailer and play World of Warcraft. He's a huge MMO player, and he's a huge gamer, but he's a huge MMO player. I don't know, man. We started playing Warhammer Online, and we had this guy in our guild, and he barely ever spoke to us on Vent. He was always in Vent, but he would hardly talk. But when he did, it sounded so much like him. And then he'd talk, and then me and my friends in the background would be typing to each other and be like, that totally sounds like Vin Diesel. And he's like, I know, it totally does. So weeks go on, right? And we would try and talk to him, and like most of the time he just wouldn't even respond or talk to us. Finally, not making this up, one day, my buddy, the guild leader, was like, dude, are you Vin Diesel? He logged off, left the guild, and we never heard from him again. So either that was Vin Diesel.
That's close enough to confirmation for me.
And I mean, like, we were just like, either that guy was like the biggest troll ever and just like played it to the extent of just like, boom, I'm out. And just had the internal recognition of just feeling that like he trolled us all, or it was him. It sounded so much like him. Like everyone was convinced it was him. It wasn't just like one or two. Like the entire guild was convinced it was him. It just sounded like his voice is pretty distinct. You know what I mean? Like if you heard his voice, you're like, that fucking sounds like Vin Diesel. And like whenever boom, out. Pretty interesting. But what do you think here? Riddick gonna be an MMO? What? The movie came out like 2 weeks ago. What?
I don't think this is the Riddick license. I don't think this is going to be Riddick IP. There was a rumor not a long time ago, but a couple of years ago that his company is they did the Butcher Bay, Escape from Butcher Bay, which is a fantastic game. And they were also doing in the background a game based on his Dungeons and Dragons characters. And they were kind of playing with RPG elements there and then mixing in some online and multiplayer stuff with that. Now, there was very sketchy details on it, but I think this is going to be more fantasy-based, not quite Riddick. I love a Riddick MMO.
I'm trying to pull up the actual video here that he's talking about it. And there's a stupid commercial in front. So go ahead and keep talking for a little while while I get to this.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know much about it. It's just like with the movie just coming out, it kind of seems odd that they'd be doing it. I mean, this MMO can't, if it is an MMO and it is a Riddick MMO, I doubt it's even close to being done. Right? When's this going to come out? Like 3-4 years? I don't know. Maybe it's one of these like sort of newer multiplayer co-op concepts.
Yeah, that's why I kind of gravitated towards this old thing that they were talking about doing, something that's already been in the works for 2 or 3 years, but maybe not clearly defined as to what it would be. And now they've found a focus, and it's going to be kind of like an MMO. Here's what we're going to do with it. That's the way I tend to think. It's like something his company already has had in the works, just got the identity slapped onto it.
Do you think the Riddick IP has really set itself up for a really good MMO? I don't know. I'm kind of iffy about it. It's kind of like,
yeah.
I mean, when people thought like The Matrix was going to be a really good MMO, and look where that got them.
Yeah, I don't know if it MMO in the way of like World of Warcraft or things like that. I think certainly a smaller, less MMO persistent world type deal would work for that IP. Like a World of Warcraft, Final Fantasy, that traditional MMORPG, I don't think fits the Riddick mold.
It is a Riddick game though that he's talking about. He definitely confirms that.
He confirms that?
Let me
Man,
talk.
I need to wake up when I'm watching that.
Seriously, Burn, you got FF on the brain.
I do.
You got to calm that Yoshi P down. He's just spraying you with champagne love.
Don't you dare talk about my Yoshi P.
Let me quote exactly what he says here. As I'm watching it, and I'll say his words. Let's see.
Can you say it in his voice?
How about sing it?
There's this huge concept which is more of an MMO game that would be centered around playing mercs.
Mercs, yeah.
And the merc trade, yeah. So yeah, that's what he's talking about.
Well, yeah, I mean, I heard the merc trade stuff. I thought that you were saying there was like direct Riddick confirmation.
Yeah, the lady asked him before. He says we're working on the next Riddick game, and she says, "Can you give any details?" He says, "Yeah, this."
Ah, so he said, okay, so there's a
pulling them back
pre-question
together
there.
to make the next Riddick game. That's what he says.
We shall see. We'll see. All right, this next one up. Old school gamers will be happy about this one. All three of you. The rest of you probably have no idea who I'm talking about. But do you guys know Brad McQuade?
I believe I've heard that name a few times.
Yeah, Brad's back. He's back. Brad McQuade is back. He's working on some super secret MMO project. I guess you guys know who I'm talking about. He worked on EverQuest and he worked on Vanguard. He was let go from SOE in August of this year, I believe, in a big round of layoffs. That's it. We don't really know anything else. He said that going forward, I intend to work as closely with SOE as possible, which seems kind of odd, but Brad is back. Kind of a fan of his, like, some of his philosophy design work, you know, as far as what I think Vanguard completely. See, he had some trouble, I think, in the middle of Vanguard, and that kind of fell apart. But Vanguard was, on paper, I think, pretty solid. It just really didn't come to fruition. But apparently he's back, so.
So was
Copernicus. Well, and his chat is like, you know, he's giving the big middle finger to SOE. No, he's not. He's working closely with SOE, actually. And like his Twitter a day or two ago said that he had a meeting with Smedley, and Smedley was very excited by what he had to say.
We shall see. We'll keep an eye on it for you. He's an old school vet designer, so we'll see what Brad is up to. Hopefully we get some more information soon on the super secret MMO project he's working on. I want to talk about Final Fantasy XIV, but first I want to tell you guys about Shutterstock. Shutterstock. Love the Shutterstock. Love the Shutterstock. If you guys have not checked it out, go to Shutterstock.com, make a new account, and I want to save you guys 25% off on your new account. If you guys got a YouTube page, a website, a guild site, you need Shutterstock.com. We use it constantly here at Game Breaker. It's why everything looks so awesome. You just kind of go over. You can make a free account if you're not ready to sign up today. And you can start making light boxes and searching for stuff. I was searching for some stuff yesterday on the last show. I was looking for like fantasy based like castles and dragons. Like found this. I mean, like, look at that. That's a pretty awesome piece right there. Like that artist is pretty badass. You put that up in your background of your guild website or something. That's pretty awesome. There's all kinds of stuff like that. Artwork, photos if you need stock photography, concept art. Icons, all little kinds of buttons and things for your website, or maybe you need like some caricatures for your YouTube page. Check it out. Go over to Shutterstock.com. Make an account today. I want to save you guys 25% off. So when you're ready, just make sure you use the promo code GameBreaker9 as the GameBreaker with the number 9. And it'll automatically save you guys 25% off on your accounts. Check it out today. Go over to Shutterstock.com. Final Fantasy XIV PS4 beta kicking off in February of 2014. More importantly, we talked a bit more about this on the XIV Reborn, which is our Final Fantasy 14 show. If you haven't checked it out, check it out. But wow, blew people away. If you buy it on the PS3, you're not going to have to rebuy it for the PS4. You're going to get it absolutely free, and you're also going to get your character transfers and all that good stuff. So, Mr. Byrne, what else can you tell us about how this whole program is going to work?
Pretty sweet, actually. If you're playing on the PlayStation 3 right now, you'll be able to access the beta on the PlayStation 4 if you're going to buy the PlayStation 4 on February 22nd. That's the day the system launches in Japan, so it really doesn't get any earlier than that on the PS4 in Japan. When the game launches, you will get the PS4 client for free and can pick up right where your character's left off. So no problem. No dollarinos to go from your PlayStation 3 to PlayStation 4. So if you can find a copy and you were kind of thinking about, should I get it on the 3 or if I'm just going to get the 4 in a couple of months, if you can find a copy of the PS3, there's no reason not to pick it up now.
What's our latest update on the sales going back into place? Because right now, if you guys haven't checked it, they've actually halted sales because of all the problems they were having with servers. So until they fixed all the server login issues, they actually took the game off the market. I got to imagine they were losing a ton of money because it's getting such good reviews and people are having so much fun, myself and Burn included. But they haven't been selling it. Any word on when sales are going to be reinstated?
Yes, actually. We've had 2 rounds of 10-hour maintenance over the last week and a half.
Worst 10 hours of my life.
So, and then finally, Yoshi P did say yesterday, I believe, in a forum post that this weekend they're going to continue to monitor server loads and capacity, and if all goes well this weekend, they are hoping Monday to reinstitute digital sales.
So Monday on digital sales, have they said anything about the PlayStation 3? What's going on with that?
Well, that's still a digital sale on the PSN, so you can buy that right off the PlayStation Network too. Yep.
Well, hopefully Monday. I know Jason's just can't wait.
Gary doesn't go for digital sales on Final Fantasy XIV. There's no box to throw at somebody.
There is no box to throw. I did not get the collector's edition. I probably should have, but I did not. I got the digital version. I haven't been running into any problems. I haven't had any problems logging in. Everything seems to be running smoothly now with these upgrades. Have you hit any snags at all?
Nope. And level 50 players, I will hopefully join you tonight among the level 50 ranks, and even the Keep, which 50 players are farming and was a huge problem with the duty finder, is a little bit alleviated.
Gotta do that every time.
Having some alleviation there too. So it's all seeming in a good direction. Just keep it up. And Square Enix, being totally unlike Square Enix, is actually very, very communication oriented the last week or so.
It's been a very interesting turn for the Squeenix. It's actually been quite delightful. Last up, I would tell you guys that the Lord of the Rings online expansion was launching on November 18th, but I promised Jason we wouldn't talk about it again last week. So, Mr. Mike Bird, you can follow him on Twitter at MagicMan. It's MIGICKMANN1. Follow him on the Twitter. Go over to the Twitters. It's a series of tubes with 140 characters at MagicMan1. Jason Winter, non-player of Lotro. Follow him on Twitter at Winter Informal. Winter Informal is where you can find him all day, every day.
I don't like you.
You guys can follow me at Gary Gannon. Follow GameBreaker TV at GameBreaker TV. Oh, we've got Hearth Nation Beta Key giveaway going on again. Yes, that's back up and running with Hearth Stone Beta Keys. Go over to hearthnation.com for details on how to enter that. Don't miss that. And we launched a new show here for all you peeps wondering about what's going on behind the scenes with GameBreaker. It's called GBN Cast. We do it live right after TWIMMO for PDT on the Fridays. So we do this show live every 3 o'clock Fridays. Come on over for the live show. It's always a good time. You guys are so awesome. Thank you so much for watching This Week in MMO for 161 episodes. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week for some more This Week in MMO.